All right. I say we get into it here. We're all here. Definitely want to be respectful of everybody's time, especially our student athletes who are taking a break from studying for their finals to help us out with some questions. So I guess I'll start off by saying thanks for y'all for helping us out. Yeah, we'll just go right into it. So how this is going to work is, so there was a couple questions sent ahead of time. So what I'll do is I'll kind of moderate and ask those questions to specific people. And then we definitely want to leave some room or some time at the end so you can go into breakout rooms depending on what you're looking to study. We have a nice spread, but we'll let the student athletes introduce themselves. Feel free to throw questions in the group chat. And we'll get them answered. All right, Abby, you're first on my screen. You want to kick us off here? How about name, year, where you're from, what major, and then what events you swim or dove. Sorry.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Abby. I am a fifth-year senior. I'm from New Jersey. I did my undergraduate study in biomedical engineering, and I'm going to be graduating with my master's in biomedical engineering as well. And the events that I swam were 200 backstroke, all of the IMs, as well as some 200 fly and 200 free as well.
I guess I can go next. My name is Nate. I'm a senior. I'm from Southern California. I majored in cognitive brain science and biomedical sciences. And I swam backstroke, which is kind of sad, and some freestyle too.
I can go. I'm Claire. I'm a junior. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I'm studying political science and English, and I swim mid-distance freestyle.
I'm Sydney. I'm a junior as well. I'm double majoring in biology and child studies and human development, and I'm a diver. Oh, I'm from Andover, Mass.
And I guess we're saving the best for last. My name's Kai. I'm a junior from New Hampshire. I'm studying biopsychology and also philosophy, and I'm also a diver.
Great, thanks, y'all. We'll just jump right into it. So first question's about the balance of athletics and academics. Nate and Sydney, can you touch a little bit about that?
Yeah, I guess I could start. I guess I'll go on like the kind of the practice schedule kind of and how it relates to like your core schedule for swimming specifically. I know it's different for diving, but the way that our practices are like scheduled takes into account kind of the way our class schedule works, which is really nice and I think really special about Tufts. So like there's 3 different slots, say 15, 1:30, 3:30. And usually Coach Joe like asks us to give him our class schedule. And he kind of tries to optimize like practices around when we have classes, when we don't have classes, which has been really, really helpful just to manage when we're practicing, when we're training, but also getting our coursework done. And I would also say that professors at Tufts really understand that a lot of students are student athletes. And so they're very flexible with like assignment deadlines, exams during like dual meets or conference meets or anything like that. So I would say like being a varsity athlete and having like rigorous course schedules is very doable here. Sometimes we do recommend taking a lighter load in the spring since we have like championship season and everything, but I haven't had any serious issues with the balance.
Yeah, I've kind of had a similar experience as Nate. I thought coming in freshman year that it would be kind of a big hit because I wasn't used to all the different types of classes at different times, along with the practice schedule. So for divers, we have blocked out time at night. So I had to adjust to doing studies in the morning. But I always thought that it was really easy to kind of get with a group of teammates and go somewhere and study, and then we'll leave for practice at a certain time. And so everyone will go. So I've never really found that it's been too difficult to balance the athletics and the academics, especially when we have lifts in the morning. We'll go together as a team, and then we'll go get breakfast and then go study, and then we'll like branch off and go to classes. And so I think it's really easy on the team to try to find an environment where you can study and everyone's very understanding, and we tend to collaborate with each other and help each other out. So I think it's a really good balance.
Thanks. Next question. Are you able to do school, sports, and other activities at Tufts? Some examples would be clubs, internships, research, and anywhere else the answer takes you, I guess. Kai, Sydney, want to speak to this one?
Sure, yeah, I can start. I guess to give you guys some background, I can talk about some of the stuff I do outside of school and swimming. So I'm one of the executive directors of Tufts EMS, and then I've also been working in a research lab since my freshman year, which is kind of a cool lab co-funded by the Army, doing like virtual reality work and soldiers. But I guess based on Joe's question, I've never really felt that I've had to jeopardize any aspect of something that I want to do for something else at Tufts. And then, I mean, that includes extracurriculars, school, sports, and also having a social life. I feel like a lot of the like rumors that you hear going into college is like, oh, you can like either sleep 8 hours a night or have a social life or get good grades. And you got to jeopardize some other aspect of your life to get that. I've never really felt that here at Tufts. And I mean, I think the excellent thing is the coaches are very accommodating of your schedules and understand that like people do other things outside of school and swimming. So it's, I mean, it's very, very accommodated, very easy to do.
Yeah, I totally agree with Kai. I was involved in a couple different types of research projects throughout my time. So I'm a double major in child development and bio. And so I was testing out research in the child development side. And then I did some bio research over the last summer. But for my child studies research, I did that through like an independent study, and I was working closely with my mentor through that. And I found that it was really easy to fit it right into basically like my class schedule. And then for the summer research, that was also very accountable because that was in the off season, preseason, kind of the same thing. But I've always found it really easy if I want to join something or if I want to take time off to go to a club meeting or have some other commitment. It's really easy and flexible to work with your practice schedule on that. As long as it's something that you're passionate about, you can always talk with your coaches and they'll let you do whatever you need to do to like have that college experience that you want. And so they're very accommodating to kind of fitting in everything that you want to have in your college experience.
Great. Definitely get this question every time I talk to a recruit, but housing, what is the team? Does the team typically room together? Do you all spend time together? And then do you get along? Claire, do you want to take a stab at this one?
Yeah. So freshman year, you're randomly put into a dorm, but sometimes athletes are together, sometimes they're not. It's kind of depends. But everyone definitely spends time with each other a ton. And freshman year, you become really close with the freshmen really quickly, and you just hang out in their rooms all the time. And then sophomore year, you can pick housing. So a lot of people live in 10-person suites their sophomore year. I lived in one with Sydney last year. It was 10 swimmers and divers in one suite, which was really crazy, but really fun. And then junior and senior year, most people move off campus. So I'm in an apartment now with one diver, her, and 2 swimmers, and the 4 of us live in an apartment together. And a lot of people on the team live in off-campus apartments together or with just other friends that they make at their time at Tufts. But I would say the Tufts team spends so much time together. Like we really just love hanging out with each other, love seeing each other in practice, out of practice. Just whenever you walk around, you know that you're going to run into someone from the team, and you can always like have a place to sit down if you want. So it's very, very inclusive in housing and just like general social life.
Thanks. On that note, what in terms of bonding, what are some things that the team does with each other outside of the pool? Abby?
Yeah, so there's a ton of things that we do, and I'll try to keep it to just a couple of things. Preseason, when all the freshmen kind of come to campus, we use that time as for the men's and women's teams to go on bonding trips. So, for example, the men will they have gone to a place in New Hampshire. The women have gone to a couple of different places. For example, we've gone to Cape Cod, and we do this for a weekend, and it's a really great opportunity to get to know each other off campus. We're able to talk about things besides classes, besides swimming, and really just get to know everyone as people, and really decide what the team is going to value with the season ahead. And then something else that kind of comes to mind in terms of bonding is that the team can be really large. So one thing that we've tried to do in the past is break the teams down into families or groups, and this allows for like even stronger relationships to grow, both on the men's and women's teams mixed together. The men's team also breaks up by strokes, so more of like a training group, and then the women, we have also done smaller randomized groups as well as accountability buddies. That's been something that I've really valued, especially when I was an underclassman trying to figure out a lot of different things. You get an accountability buddy for the season, and that can be your go-to person. We tend to get lots of meals together, just text all the time. Any questions that I ever had always went to my accountability buddy. And so apart from, the everyday meals in DeWick, we have those special things that we kind of do throughout the season to ensure that everyone can get to know each other on a more personalized level.
Awesome. Thanks, Abby. This one, I guess I didn't assign anyone, but we'll have you all go briefly on it. The questions, why Tufts? What are some things that stood out to you about Tufts compared to similar schools that you were looking at when making your college decision? Nate, why don't we go? Nate, Sydney, Claire, Kai, Abby, it's been 5 years for you, so we'll give you a break on this one.
Yeah, so for my why Tufts, I guess when I was looking at colleges, I was kind of looking for, kind of narrowed it down to like D3 colleges with great academics, a pretty strong swim program. And I had narrowed it down to like 2 schools. I went on like a couple of recruiting trips. And the moment I stepped onto Tufts campus, it kind of like clicked for me. And I think what really clicked was the people in the community. Everyone I came into contact with was so welcoming, really inviting. And I feel like I was like really a part of the school and the team without even like being at the school yet. And I think looking back now, I think it's really important to like somehow feel involved in the community and like with the people if you're going to spend 4 years there. And when I stepped onto campus, I could definitely see myself already being like a student at that school. So I would say definitely the people. In the past, we had gone on like recruiting trips, so like we got to meet the team in person. And so I think, yeah, definitely the people, I would say.
Sydney?
My why Tufts is solely based on the fact that I met Claire Brennan on my recruiting trip and I just fell in love with her. But I really wanted kind of like the same thing that Nate said. I was looking at D3 schools because I'm pre-med, so I was really looking to hone in on the academics, but I still wanted to be able to dive competitively. So I was looking at D3 schools, and then I think location was a really big thing that I wanted to make sure that I had, because a lot of the other schools I looked at with D3 were a little bit on the smaller side. And so I wanted something that was big, but not like huge big, and then not too tiny that it felt like high school. So Tufts was the perfect size for me. I don't run into everybody that I don't want to run into, and then I do run into the people that I do want to see. So it's a really good size. And I thought that on my recruiting trip as well, because everybody was so welcoming, like Nate said. And then it was also a really good location close to the city, which I really liked. You don't ever feel like you're isolated in this little bubble, but at the same time, you have this grounded campus to return to where you can run wild and do whatever. And it's not scary like the city would be, but we have that easy Boston access. So I really thought location, the people, and Claire Brennan. That's my White House.
Similar. I mean, it was all because of Sydney. But actually, we did meet during our recruiting visit, and I think, yeah, like during dinner one of the nights, we just turned to each other and said, I think we're both going to try to go here. And then we did, and it was great. But I think for me, I spent a lot of time looking at schools that every time I toured, I either really loved the swim program and felt okay about the school, or I really loved the school and felt okay about the swim program. And when I toured Tufts, it just was the first place that it seemed like both of those things really made sense. And I just like felt equally as excited to like explore all the extracurriculars and academics at Tufts as I was to swim for this team. And since coming here, I definitely was right on that. I've really been able to do so many different activities that I don't think I would have been able to do at a different school, and gotten everything out of the swimming, out of swimming that I could want to. So it's just really been the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse. It seems like people have pretty much hit on like the main points of like what makes Tufts so awesome. I mean, I guess to reiterate, like I went on a couple of recruiting trips when I was looking at schools. Again, they're mostly like D3 programs, stuff like that. Because I mean, fundamentally, I wanted to come to college to like do academics and all that, and so I was mostly looking there. And I had a lot of like okay recruiting trips at like other schools. I mean, like a lot of the times I would just sort of get there, they'd give me a campus map and like be like, all right, figure it out. We'll see you for dinner. It was, I mean, that was okay. But then when I came to Tufts, did my recruiting trip, I mean, it seemed like the whole team was like excited to have me there. They like had activities planned for all of the recruit trips. I mean, it seemed like they really cared about getting a team that was not only strong in terms of swimming and academics, but also just strong like socially and like sort of just like a welcoming group of people. And since coming to Tufts, I've only found that sort of attitude extends way beyond the swim team, and everyone here is super welcoming, and just like really cool people. Like I've met crazy cool people here at Tufts that I don't think I would have met anywhere else. And then the second big point is I came to Tufts because, I mean, academically, in terms of swimming, in terms of social life, in terms of clubs, Tufts really has like anything that you could possibly imagine or want. I mean, we are technically in the NESCAC, we're a small college. It's liberal arts. It's very like professor student focused. Academics are very like one-on-one, but at the same time, we are a university outside of Boston, like a research university where if you are looking to work in a research lab, there are sort of like graduate student research mentors who are available. The like amount of like graduate students that I've met with academically to like work on like papers outside of class that like I wouldn't have gotten because professors are way too busy. So I think at least like academically, socially, in terms of like extracurriculars, Tufts really just has anything that you want to do. If there's like something that you find really cool, there's someone here who's going to find that really cool as well. Yeah, I guess that's sort of all I got to say on that.
Thanks, y'all. Kai, I probably shouldn't have put you last there because I have you answering the next question too, but you're on a roll now, so we'll just let you keep going. You want to talk a little bit about mentoring within the team, and then what team members do to support each other's goals?
Yeah, I guess the nice thing about coming to Tufts on the swim team was you sort of instantly have a group of people that A, know Tufts, and B, like just like you're like kind of forced to hang out with, which was awesome for me because I mean coming to college is like tough for everyone because you sort of, I don't know, you build a friend group in high school, you build sort of like this life in high school, and then all of a sudden like some like Wednesday in August, you just gotta like pick it up and just like go move into this new environment. It's very overwhelming. So I think especially as a freshman, like just having the built-in swim team was fantastic for me. The other like point I'll speak to in terms of mentoring is the swim team's a pretty big team. So especially like, again, academically outside of classes, there's someone that you can find even on the swim team who's going to have similar interests to you, and going to be doing something similar to you. So like if you, I don't know, have a question about a professor, if you have a question about a class, if you're like, oh, I don't know, I like kind of like this subject, but I don't know if I should actually pursue a minor. Are there any other interesting classes in this discipline? There's going to be someone on the swim team who's done that and who's going to have like insight on that. So supporting each other academically for sure. Actually, last year I spent a lot of time talking to Nate because me and him are both applied to like Tufts med school early assurance program, and so I got a lot of excellent insight from Nate in terms of that. And then I guess in terms of supporting each other's goals in swimming, the swim team is a very, obviously we're all very academically motivated, but at the same time, like it's a very, very good and very, very competitive swim program. So you sort of just get pushed in practice because of the people you're around. I mean, the people all, I mean, love to, I can speak to the divers, but everyone sort of like loves to dive, loves to improve, loves to like push each other to just like be better on the team. It's all very supportive in terms of both academic goals and swimming and diving goals. And as far as I can tell, the NESCAC is one of the most competitive D3 conferences in the nation. So, I mean, you are competing at a very high level. And so it's awesome to have those people behind your back, like behind you on the blocks or behind you on the boards or whatever, help you achieve your goals.
Thanks, Kai. Nate, do you want to speak to diversity on the team and the school?
Yeah, sure. So I came from a pretty non-diverse area in Southern California, especially my high school. So I think coming into college, it is kind of scary, especially going across the country too. I had never like been to New England before, but I really have found at coming to Tufts that I've had the opportunity to like really broaden my like perspective on so many different things, and that's just because how diverse our team and our school is. And a lot of times I've been able to have a lot of uncomfortable conversations with people with different ethnic backgrounds, sexualities, people who are from a different country, and I've learned so much. And so I would say that diversity at this school and just in like the Boston area in general is something that I've really enjoyed in my experience, and I think is going to really, really help me going into careers, grad school, just being involved in like so many different communities. So I would say it was definitely something that I've learned so much from.
Great, thanks, Nate. So the last question, I won't make everyone answer it, but in terms of like team traditions, is there something that's kind of a favorite area that anyone wants to speak to? I will pick on people. Let's be clear. But.
I would say one of my favorite ones that we have is the brown and blue inter-squad meet. So if you don't know, our Tufts colors are brown and blue. And so we kind of split the team into like brown team, blue team. We get pretty intense. We like take photos, put them on our Facebook, say some like things that brown team's gonna be a blue team or whatever. But that's always a really fun meet. It's like in the middle of October. So like just before, like right when season starts, it's really fun to, once you've done all this preseason training, to like finally race with everyone. And it's not like you're going against another team. Like we all train together, so we're all racing against each other. So I think it's really, really fun. So that's definitely one of my favorite traditions.
Something that the women's team does most of the time, if we can remember and if we have time, but before our meets, one of the seniors on the team will write a word on a ribbon. And so I've been collecting these ribbons for quite some time now, but they're each very special, and they each come along with just like some words of wisdom that each senior has to share before a meet. So before big meets, we'll be talking a lot about, staying centered, trying to block out all of the other things that are going on around you and focus on yourself and focus on your teammates. And then more for like the dual meets, we'll always talk about, how important like details are going to be during these dual meets, and to use it as a really great opportunity to put into practice all of the things that you have been working on during practice with all your coaches and stuff like that. And so those are always really meaningful, like few moments right before meets always start. And that's always something that I've really cherished throughout my time on the women's team.
One of my favorite traditions is kind of our championship season traditions. And so I'll speak for the women's team when we do these little necklace beads, and we make them every year before championships. And regardless of what meet you're at, if you're at your BU championships or if you're at NESCACs, we all do these little beads and we write each other hearts. So everybody writes like 20 something hearts. Yeah, Nori's holding them up, and they all have little notes on the back, and it's just so fun to collect them and read them. I always tear up a little bit because it's just so great to see the community that you have in front of you, and it really just gets you motivated to do what you need to do at championships. We also make posters for each other, and so everything combined into like that week of high stress, it just really helps to alleviate everything, and you really feel like you're part of a team.
One tradition that I really love is after your championship meet, like the night that it ends, usually everyone will get together and you'll just do a little speech for everyone that competed at that meet and say like how proud we are of that person for finishing their season and like what they've accomplished that year. So we'll all get together and kind of say a couple words about each person who finished their season that day or that weekend. And it's just like a very special kind of way to commemorate all the months of hard work and a fun way to celebrate as a team.
Yeah, I think the big traditions have been hit for sure. One tradition that was cool was everyone writes everyone writes Valentines for each other on Valentine's Day. That's sort of sweet. I got a nice bag of candy, so can't complain.
Thanks, all. Definitely want to leave a lot of time for y'all to ask questions. So what we're going to do is split into breakout groups. Coach Hoyt's going to speak to who will be in what group in their area of study, but the coaches will hang out in the main part. So ask your questions. Coach just threw it in the breakout room. So option 1 will be for science. Option 2 will be engineering. 3 will be humanities, and 4 will be